Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
Beat me if you can! Come on!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my good brother from within the ropes and the Bullet Cast. It's BrianTronic. How's it going, man?
It's going really, really good. I'm happy to be here once again. Still the Bullet Cast Universal Heavyweight Champion. I just had to get that out.
Yeah, I saw that. I woke up this morning. No, was it last night before I went to bed? Yeah, I saw the news on, was it the Bullet Cast Instagram? You're now the champion of the Bullet Cast Championship. And I'm just saying that. I know there's like 8 different names with it, but let's be real and keep it simple. It's the Bullet Cast Championship. And to be honest, it's just Phillips' prop that he keeps in his apartment. None of us ever get to see or play with it. We're not like any of us are traveling champions get to actually hold the title. So
how can you defend the championship if you don't even have it?
Yeah, like anytime you and I won those predictions, it's not like we got to keep it in our household for the time being, up until the next pay-per-view and the set of predictions and whoever won. It's like the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup, there's only one Stanley Cup. And every year it goes to whoever wins, and it stays with that organization for the year. And then when the next champion's crowned, then they take it and move it away. So, yeah, same thing with the Bullet Cast Championship. I feel like, when predictions were more of a regular thing, the title should have been traveling amongst all of us here in the Bay Area. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, yes, congrats. You are the champion again.
Thank you. It feels good.
Can you explain what happened? How are you the champion? Because we haven't done predictions in a long time.
Well, I've really have always been the champion for the last few months now.
Yep.
Phil just likes to, he likes to joke around, but he's on the IR list, so to speak. And so now I really am the champion. He can't fake like he's the champion anymore. Hey, maybe I'll even be like the lead host of the Bullet Cast for the next few months. Who knows?
That'd be great. That'd be really great. No, it's funny. I think what we should do, we should maybe hit up, West Coast Design, who made the title, and we all get replicas of our own. Yes. We're all champions, and we need like a ladder match, like Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the most recent example for the crowning the official TNT champion. So, yeah, I'm gonna
hit up West Coast, and I'm going to ask him to just make me my own custom Bullet Cast Universal Championship with my face on it. That spins.
It's your face that spins. That'd be incredible. I think that'd be awesome. Like,
yes,
BrianTronic spinning. It's your smile. Wee, like over and over, just nonstop. Speaking of spinning titles, I had just asked you this. Spinning titles, WWE, you think of John Cena. Have you been watching Peacemaker on HBO Max?
You know what? I was going to check it out, but then I just forgot. Okay. And I've been seeing a lot of people say it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I finally watched, I think they're like 6 episodes in right now. When it premiered a few weeks ago, they dropped like the first 3 on HBO Max, and then it's been weekly ever since. All my coworkers have been preaching how great it is, and they all know me as a wrestling fan. They're like, oh, you should watch it, John Cena. I was like, I know. Love him, the Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad. So my dad and I watched the first episode last night. I loved it. It's very over the top, very R-rated, foul language. It's a side of John Cena we don't see. He's Mr. PG clean guy. In WWE. It's the opposite. So that alone, it's very much worth checking out. So
I gotta check it out for sure.
So I think I'm gonna try to maybe watch a few more episodes tonight and get caught up. So I don't know about you, Brian. Do you ever get and here we're going on a tangent. Sorry, Kliqsters. We'll talk wrestling. It's not too often Brian and I can have a fun conversation on this podcast about our personal lives and whatnot.
Right.
Interest. But yeah.
This is the championship celebration.
It is a celebration. No, so there's so many shows out there right now streaming. So I caught up on Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus. Highly recommend everyone watching it. If you guys want to talk Star Wars with me, go ahead, DM me on Instagram, Twitter at BabyHugh83 or intthekliq@gmail.com. This episode was the latest one. Phenomenal. Second to last for this season. But just who showed up. It was awesome. Not going to spoil anything. It was just, the little kid in me just geeked out so hard. It was great. So I'm caught up there. Got to work on Peacemaker. Got to watch Ozark. And then, there's going to be, is it Moon Knight on Disney Plus? That's coming up next month. So much to keep track of. I feel like I need to launch a secondary podcast for all the interests that I'm into. So
that would be sweet.
We'll see about that. But yeah, I'm feeling very comfortable right now. I had a chance I got a new chair, office chair.
Nice.
I took it from work. Well, I asked for permission. So my other chair had a big old hole in it and it's broken down. And my work was throwing away a bunch of chairs. And I asked, can I take one home? And I found the best looking one in there, but one of the arms was broken. So I had to Frankenstein this chair and take a good arm from another chair, screwdriver, and put it on here. So now I Frankenstein my own new office chair. And I love it. I feel comfortable. I'm rocking back and forth now. Can you hear me, people? Back and forth. So anyway, I'm feeling good, feeling comfortable. And lots of talk about. So all right, let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, some clickbait news. And the big story this week concerning the fallout from last weekend's Royal Rumble. Shane McMahon, and just his whole situation. There's a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to do my best to highlight all the tidbits. It started, I guess, Sunday morning or Sunday, at some point Monday morning, there were a lot of the wrestling sites were reporting there was just heat on Shane McMahon. Just, I guess a lot of people were frustrated with his role behind the scenes at the Royal Rumble. Didn't know much about it. I mean, just that was just a word. It was just heat on Shane McMahon. And then Brian, remember, I don't know if you saw, people were then saying the rumor was he was gonna or Riddle was originally supposed to win the Royal Rumble. That was the original plan, but then they changed it last minute and made it Brock Lesnar. So that was one story. The latest is that Shane McMahon has been quietly removed from WWE or let go, which that term or that phrase is a little interesting to me. It's not full blown release. It's let go. I don't know. I've seen different websites say it differently, but the common, is the phrase is he's no longer with WWE right now. Now, whether he was fired, let go, release, I don't know what's the right terminology here, but more reports are coming out that Shane McMahon, the plan was he was going to stick around through WrestleMania season. He was going to have a match or be involved with the Elimination Chamber this month, have a match at WrestleMania 38. Now, who his opponent was, there was rumors it was going to be Seth Rollins. Was Kevin Owens one of them as well? Do you remember who else was referenced?
I think in Austin Theory.
Austin Theory, that's right. Yeah. Which probably makes the most sense out of all those guys because, it could be a battle for Vince McMahon's love because we know Austin Theory has become Vince McMahon's new protege on Monday Night Raw. And so
who's really my son?
Yes. Shane, I don't love you anymore. Austin's I love him. Something. The story writes itself naturally. Yeah. So here, let's go break this down. So I'm just reading off here from Wrestling Observer's a website here. So as quickly as he reappeared in WWE, Shane McMahon is now out of WWE. Dave Meltzer reported the news Wednesday, confirming an early report by Ringside News. So that's where this all kind of got started. It was Ringside News. They put it out there. Ringside News doesn't have the best track record.
No.
With reporting news. They pretty much put everything out there. And so a lot of people question what's real, what's not. So when this story first dropped, a lot of people were kind of, is this true? But Meltzer, I think Fightful, multiple people went to check. And yes, this is true that he's no longer with WWE. Meltzer said McMahon is out of the company, but it's unknown whether his talent deal was terminated or if the plans for him the next 2 months were just simply dropped. After nearly a year away from in-ring action, the 52-year-old made his return in Saturday's Men's Royal Rumble match, entering at number 28 and later eliminated by eventual winner Brock Lesnar. Following the Royal Rumble, Meltzer said on an episode of Wrestling Observer Radio that there was, quote, a lot of heat on McMahon due to his booking of the Men's Royal Rumble, a role which he has performed and helped with in the past. Well, Meltzer didn't have all the details at the time. He said McMahon had an idea of what the Rumble was going to be, and then a lot of that ended up being changed, which rubbed some people the wrong way. And then Matt Mann's Andrew Zarian tweeted that specifically there were numerous changes for what number Bad Bunny would be in the Rumble. And closing out here, they said, quote, this was a cause for concern, and people within WWE were upset. WWE doesn't want to come off negatively with such a major outside star, he wrote. That's in regards to Bad Bunny. So They want to be professional using Bad Bunny in the Royal Rumble. Austin Theory effectively replaced McMahon in the Elimination Chamber match, earning his spot winning qualifier over Kevin Owens on Monday Night Raw. So, okay. A lot to break down here as far as, okay, one, let's just for right now, let's talk about just Shane McMahon and what he did behind the scenes with the Royal Rumble. It sounds like partly I wonder if he's just being the scapegoat for just how lackluster and boring the Royal Rumble was, or, it really was his fault. They had a plan laid out for how the Royal Rumble was going to go. He comes in. I saw some people saying he kind of threw the McMahon name out there, the McMahon card around, and kind of just screwed everything up and changed it up that really reflected on him and made him look good in the Royal Rumble match, and therefore just ruined the whole flow of how the Rumble was presented and just how it ended. So a lot of people are just blaming him for just how bad it was. So Brian, I'll just turn to you, man. Just kind of your thoughts on just Shane McMahon and just how he allegedly just kind of ruined this year's Rumble.
Surprising. Honestly, very surprised. The way the reports make it seem, it's like Shane just came in and just
I'm taking over.
I'm going to take over.
Put
I'm going to do it my
over.
way. Yeah, I'm going to do it my way. And I don't care what anybody thinks about it, because, some of the reports are crazy. Like some saying that, he even got into it with Brock. Like Brock was not agreeing with what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it.
God.
And it's just like, why would you think that would be a good idea, Shane, at this point? At this point in WWE, where a lot of the fans they see everything, they hear everything that happens backstage. Most of it usually comes out, especially something big like this that affects the majority of the locker room or a match in general. Like, it's crazy to think that Shane McMahon, out of all people, was one to come in and like you say, I mean, be the cause of something like the Royal Rumble being boring or the Royal Rumble not going the right way. Shane McMahon, out of all people.
Well, to me, like what's interesting about this is, at the end of the day, Vince McMahon calls the shots. He's the head of all creative for WWE. And I imagine the Royal Rumble, for the most part, was planned out how it's going to go with, Bruce Pritchard and everyone under them. And so it's really shocking to me that Shane McMahon came in and just threw it all out the window and was changing things. Like, I don't get it. Like, where was Vince? Couldn't Vince just come out of his office and said, Shane, shut up. Leave it as is. Like, do not mess this up. Like, I don't get how that happen.
Or from what it seemed, it's almost like it just kind of like looking in and just kind of making my own assumptions here. It seems like Shane probably had a lot to do with the original way that the Royal Rumble was supposed to go. And then maybe Vince didn't like it and threw it out the window last minute. And and what we got is like Vince's version of what we got. But it turned out to be not that great because, it had to be changed so quickly after, I don't know, maybe Vince probably gave Shane the okay, like, all right, figure this out. And then once he figured out what Shane was trying to do, he was like, oh, no, never, no way. Especially with Brock, too. Like, if Brock comes to you and he's pissed off, like, hey, Shane's over here trying to do this. It's like, uh-oh, I can't have that happen.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, and I forgot where I saw it or I heard someone say, like, apparently even like up to last minute when people were getting ready to walk out in the curtain, they were telling them what to do on the fly. And that's why a lot of people kind of seem lost, or some eliminations weren't properly caught on TV. It just seemed kind of a mess and nothing really seemed special. A lot of the stories that they were telling on Raw and SmackDown didn't play out. And I guess apparently like Shane, one rumor was like he hasn't been keeping track lately. So hence why the whole Rey Dominic Mysterio angle that they were teasing on Raw, that their father and son were going to try to eliminate each other. Dominic was out of the match, or the Royal Rumble match.
Got eliminated before Rey even got in there.
Yeah, exactly. So that whole thing fell apart. Same thing with Street Profits. You know what I mean? So I feel like, there was all these different stories and drama that they were building up towards on TV that never got to play out in the Rumble match. So, did Shane's influence just totally threw all that out the window and screwed it up and make himself look good? I mean,
he did come in there swinging and punching, and he got a huge pop, and I believe he eliminated Riddle, or didn't he? Or
no, Brock. Remember, Brock caught Riddle.
That's right.
And he just dumped him out, which is funny because remember Riddle said he wanted to retire. Was it retire Brock Lesnar or Goldberg?
I think it might have been both, honestly. I know it was Goldberg for sure.
Okay.
But his reaction when Brock, that's right, because he had a crazy reaction when Brock's music hit.
So I'm just looking at some of the tweets here. So Dave Meltzer on February 2nd said, just a confirmation that Shane McMahon is out of WWE, more to come. And we got that with the report there. Let's see. Okay, so Sean Ross Sapp, just following out some of this confirmation, he tweeted regarding the Shane McMahon report being quietly let from WWE. Some people type on Twitter too fast and don't proofread what their stuff is. So report of being quietly, I'm filling in the blanks here, let go from WWE by Ringside News. I've yet to be able to get it confirmed, but was told by another source it's, quote, likely true. RSN, so Ringside News, has been accurate with the reports surrounding him. That I've heard thus far. And then also he added, though he wasn't listed as a producer internally for the Royal Rumble, he helped put the match together, which he's done before in the past. We're told he was integral in a lot of changes in a match that was already heavily changing as is. Okay, so you can imagine the Royal Rumble, there's a lot of moving parts here. All the different stories you're trying to tell within a match, matches within matches, who's going to eliminate who, all that stuff. A lot of moving parts. With Vince McMahon's booking and creative style, things always changing. And then you add someone else to throw a monkey wrench into that. Yep. No wonder this match just seemed off and all over the place. It was a badly booked Royal Rumble match. It's unfortunate. We love the Royal Rumble. It's one of the most, if not most exciting match of the year. So that's unfortunate that this kind of played out. And then, as Andrew Zarian said, or he tweeted a few notes from source regarding Shane and the Rumble. There were numerous changes to what number Bad Bunny would be. This was cause for concern, and people within WWE were upset. WWE doesn't want to come off negatively with such a major outside star. So, I guess they don't want to piss off Bad Bunny. They want to handle him with care. He's such a big star for them, outside star. So I'm sure they were frustrated with all the changes. They didn't want to probably piss him off. So I could see just so much chaos.
Or even confuse him, like to the point where he goes out there and he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And it not only hurts him, as he's built up such a good reputation for, you know, being in the ring and how good he is, but I mean, make the company look bad too, because whenever someone, I mean, we always see whenever there's a botch or something goes wrong, everyone's like, what is WWE doing? Like,
and that gets isolated on Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, I'm sure they didn't want to make Bad Bunny look bad out there, because he'd be like, screw you guys, I'm never coming back. I don't need you. And they do need him. All the merch sales. Yeah. And just, you know, his influence to bring the casual fan in. So I get that part of like, crap, we don't want to screw up Bad Bunny and make him look bad and he'll hate us forever. So now with Shane McMahon gone and the rumors of now him being gone, is it just they're scrapping the plans they had for up until WrestleMania, or is he just gone forever until they bring him back whenever down the road?
That's what I'm curious about, man. Okay, we've heard all this, so now it's just like, for me, I'm like, okay, is he gone from the company as a whole, or is he just not gonna have the plans that he was expecting to have for Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania? Does this mean he's free to go wherever he wants? Like,
does he have a non-compete clause? Because everyone right away is like, oh, he's going to be all elite this week. I was like, no, he's not. No. He's not going to the competition. He's a McMahon.
Not now, at least.
Well, yeah, for now.
Not now, but like,
well, you see, like, sorry not to cut you off, but like, people think, Shane McMahon should create his own faction of WWE guys and they invade AEW.
Oh, like, my God.
Sorry, no, go ahead with what you're saying.
No, like, but even that, like, that's so crazy. Like, I've seen a lot of, like, oh, Shane should do this. The fact that people are even thinking that him, you know, I mean, he's not Sting, right? I mean, but no, I get, he still is Shane McMahon. So that would still be a big deal. But, like, why are we even wanting this? We should just leave it alone. If Shane's gone from WWE, then he's gone. Like, that's it.
So, yeah, let's focus on what the next phase of Shane's run in WWE was going to be. So, it looked like he was going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and then the possibility of him, you know, facing Seth Rollins. I forgot to mention earlier, the rumor was him facing Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship, or it could have been him versus Bobby Lashley, or him versus Austin Theory.
Goodness.
I mean, if those were possible storylines that they're going to come up with, you know, at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad he's not going to be involved with this year's WrestleMania, because no offense to Shane, I love Shane. I grew up watching Shane from the time. I remember when he was a referee in the early 90s, you know, for the older fans out there, listeners right now, you remember Shane McMahon used to be a referee, like back in, I think, the late 80s, early 90s. You can Google photos of him as a ref. Until, you know, when he became more of an on-air character, on-screen character, like the spoiled rich son of Vince McMahon and the Mean Street Posse, all that stuff, and the high-flying crazy stuff.
Shane.
Yeah, so, like, I love Shane McMahon, but to a certain point, his character needs to be used just for certain storylines.
Yeah.
It should not involve the WWE Championship.
No.
And I'm glad, you know, if he's gone for the time being, that those plans are now scrapped, because I did not want him for the WWE Championship versus Seth Rollins or whoever. The one storyline that made sense was him and Austin Theory, as we just mentioned earlier. It makes sense, just fighting for the love for Vince McMahon. Like, it writes itself. But, you know, the WWE Championship is the most glorious title in all of pro wrestling, sports entertainment. It should be defended at WrestleMania, but against two guys that it makes sense for, current active members of the roster, not Shane McMahon. So that might be the silver lining in all of this. With him gone, these possible storylines and matchups are not going to happen. So, you know,
I can only imagine those promos. You know, I've worked for WWE for so long, and there's one thing I haven't accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think, like, how would they actually write this? Like, I guess that's it. It's like, you know, I've done every crazy thing in the book, but the one thing I've not done is win the WWE Championship. I guess that's his motivation. But for everyone else in the main event scene or upper mid-card scene, they'd be like, wait. We're going to get passed up by another part-timer? It doesn't make sense. So I'm glad it's not playing out like that. And then I guess kind of in closing with the whole Shane talk, I guess for you, how do you feel about Shane McMahon as an on-screen character? Now, granted, he's been gone for most of the last year. Big surprise for him at the Rumble. But do you think Shane O'Mac, the Shane McMahon character, has kind of run its course? It's a little bit of a burnout factor now?
Yeah, I think so. If anything, if he's going to be like if he were to be brought back to have a match or something with someone, it should be with someone like Austin Theory, young guy coming up. Yeah, I'm not too interested in Shane McMahon against any more legends or have any more last time only or anything like that, end of an era type things. I would be more interested in him getting into it with, even Grayson Waller, someone young, up and coming NXT young. I think of Randy Orton whenever I think of someone like a legend or someone old timer or just someone who makes a return, who hasn't been with the company for a while. I always think of Randy Orton, and how he just became the legend killer. Those matches with Taker, those matches with Foley, and Taker was still going back then also, but just I don't think people realize how young Randy Orton really was. Yeah, and honestly, I think that's what's missing in WWE, like as a whole. And I know that, I mean, that's a whole different conversation, but the youth, man, like seeing like the young, and when they say, like, when we see the reports of WWE wanting younger stars and younger guys, younger girls, a lot of people go, oh, that's messed up, but it's not a bad thing. And I think it's a good thing, and not to go too far off, but yeah, that's fine. So so when I see Shane, coming back, I always think, oh, well, okay, well, this is good if he's going to go up and put over some, like, I would love to see Grayson Waller just come out after a Shane McMahon return, that huge pop, and him come out and just slap Shane right in the mouth. And of course, Shane never backs down from a fight. So, that would be interesting to me. At this point, WWE Championship, I don't think that's good for business.
And a couple things. One, as I said, he's 52 years old. I worry that he cannot perform some of the stuff that he's known for in the last 20 plus years. Yeah. On top of that, I'm a big guy myself. I'm a heavyset guy, so I very much I know what it's like to sweat very easily. Shane McMahon, the second he comes outside, the gorilla position, the music hits, he starts doing his little shuffle. Yep. He starts sweating so much when he gets in the ring. He's just pouring sweat.
He starts sweating during his promos.
Yeah, and it's like when he's in the ring, he looks tired or blown up pretty quickly. He's heavy breathing. His punches, the way he throws punches, it like some guys get knocked. Really doesn't know how to throw punches properly, and like hits a lot of guys, and it just it looks bad. The in-ring work. So it's like Shane McMahon at this point should be used very sparingly, like here or there, maybe 1 or 2 matches a year, if that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, and like I said, we grew up watching Shane, in the 90s, like I said, Vince's son getting involved, the WCW, purchasing WCW angle, having the crazy matches. That's the thing. He was like known as the rich kid of Vince McMahon, but he would do crazy stuff in the ring. So like the stuff with Kurt Angle, the coast to coast stuff, which is great. But now it's like he's getting older. He can't do a lot of that stuff anymore. And it's like, okay, we've seen it so many times. Even more recent, last few years, stuff with Kevin Owens, Undertaker. We've seen it over and over. It's almost like he kind of ran its course. He's kind of, we're kind of burnt out. I always wonder if Shane McMahon was ever going to inherit the Mr. McMahon type of character and be that Mr. McMahon character for this generation. And like, if they would ever find a brand new Stone Cold Steve Austin type character and have them versus Shane McMahon, the back and forth. Because Shane is 52 now. That was how old Vince McMahon was in the 90s during the Attitude Era when he was going up against Stone Cold Steve Austin every week for a couple years. So I always wondered, would Shane ever slide into that role? And he never has. Maybe I would love to ask him, was that ever presented to him? Has he ever thought about it? You know, what would the case be? So, I mean, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I love when Shane came back in what was it, 2016 or whatever, when he was gone for, was it 7 years doing it, you know, other outside work, other companies he started up. So, but I always thought, when I was a kid and watching him, I thought maybe someday he could be the new Mr. McMahon. But it's never played out like that. And so I don't know, maybe Vince never present Shane on TV as the owner of WWE or something. But I always thought he could have been great in that role, but I don't know. So, you know.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's like, you know, find a new Stone Cold Steve Austin type character. I mean, it's been what, almost 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, a lot of us older fans, they might roll their eyes and be like, "Oh, I already saw this once when I was a teenager or whatever." It's like, who cares? He could recycle some great storylines, just do updated versions about that. So, with that being said, I think for the short term, I think it's probably in best interest for everyone that Shane's away.
Yeah,
I think they'll probably come up with some better storylines, more engaging storylines with the current roster right now. But at the end of the day, we do like Shane. I hope he does come back at some point. I would love to see who made the call. Did Vince call his son directly and says, "We don't need you anymore, pal"? Or was it John Laurinaitis? I would love to know how that going. But it's, you know, I know a lot of people thought it was a little cold. Like, wow, you let go of your own son. But at the end of the day, Shane's got money. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he'll come back at some point. So
yep,
we'll see how it goes.
He's still gonna hang out with his dad, you know, like, and he's still gonna be there for all the holidays. Like, he's, you know, it's not like he's not showing up.
Yeah, I would love to see what the next family get together is. Imagine, I wonder Triple H and Shane get together. And be like, can you believe this guy? He depowered both of us. You know, it's like, how dare he? But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. You know, how it'll play out. So, wish Shane all the best and hope he does come back at some point. All right, let's move on over to this week in AEW. We'll talk some Dynamite. We'll talk some Rampage. Both very good episodes. I actually enjoyed Rampage this week out of the two shows. Rampage, I know normally it just seems like filler for the most part. It's very much is the B show, and it's just, you know, extra matches that they tape after Dynamite goes off the air. But this week, I really enjoyed it, so I definitely want to focus on that a little bit. But Brian, I'll just turn to you, man. Just kind of your overall takeaways from this week's episode of Dynamite.
It was okay. Not too many big things, you know, to take away from it, or not too many anything crazy going on. But it was a decent episode. I like when it's a decent episode. I like when it's not too many crazy stuff going on, because then I get to, you know, just spend time figuring out who everybody is. You know, if it's debut here and big pop there and, you know, big match here, big segment there, it's just kind of like, all right, well, let me see. And it's been like that for me. I feel like AEW as a whole over the last, you know, I guess a month or two, it has been a little more of, okay, we're going to hear, instead of it being big pop, new debut, it's been sort of the, okay, these are the guys who I've seen from the beginning. Even if it's just a little vignette or, you know, something simple like that, I feel like they're working towards giving more people roles within the company.
Yeah, no, you brought up something good there as far as it's an interesting time right now, because this is the longest in between pay-per-views. Full Gear in November, and then Revolution coming up in first week in March, I believe, or end of February, first week in March. Actually, let me look that up. When is Revolution? And I say that because I feel like, you know, it's March 6th, 2022. Okay, so, wow, we're still a month away from that. This is the longest in between, so they really are trying to stretch out, I think, a lot of their storylines, and there's a lot of TV they need to fill. And some of this stuff, you know, you think about it to like All Out or Full Gear, they spend a lot of time building up to those pay-per-views. This is the longest gap, so therefore it's the longest stretch. They got to come up with stuff and trying to keep people engaged with these storylines, because I think a lot of them, they want to, save these big matches for the pay-per-view, but it's like we can't wait too long or people are going to get tired and burnt out here. Case in point, the main event from this show, CM Punk versus MJF, something that they've been brewing since December, I want to say, after Full Gear. For me, I thought this was going to take place at Revolution.
Yeah.
But I was shocked when MJF last week on Dynamite said, "You want the match? All right, we'll do it next week in Chicago on Dynamite." I was like, whoa, we're going to get this match for free on cable television?
Yep.
I was shocked. I kind of thought it was going to be a swerve or, a quick DQ or something that was going to happen, and that was going to prolong it for another month to Revolution. So I was shocked this match took place and happened on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happens when you have so much downtime in between Full Gear and Revolution. I think you end up having to do some of these bigger matches on television just because the fans can't wait that long. We're just too impatient. Right. So we'll get into the match more in that sense. It's interesting as well because I feel like there's so much downtime right now in between pay-per-views. This has been really an interesting test for AEW, how to keep people engaged in between pay-per-views, because you don't want to start building up to the next set of matches for the pay-per-view too early. Like I said, there'll be that burnout factor. So I feel like it's kind of been like a little stagnant through January. That first episode on TBS in January, great. Bryan Danielson, Hangman Adam Page. But ever since then, it's just been kind of, I don't want to say going through the motions, but it's just been kind of stagnant. They've been existing. And I put this on Twitter. It's like, right now, what is your favorite storyline in AEW? And I really thought about it. There wasn't too much going on, it felt like. Just felt like a lot of people were just having one-off matches, but nothing really to bite your teeth into other than, let's think about it, MJF versus CM Punk, Jericho and maybe Inner Circle possibly breaking up. And Rampage.
Cody wrestling with no contract.
Yeah, Cody wrestling with no contract. The women's division is starting to pick up, which we'll get into that in a little bit. They're finally building other storylines outside the title picture scene. It's like, finally, we needed that.
Yeah.
So, but there has been, I feel like, these really over-the-top storylines. It's just, nothing's been like super exciting. So I'm hopeful that the next month now that they're really on the road to Revolution, over the next 4 weeks, we're going to start getting some more bigger storylines created to lead up to the pay-per-view. So that's something to keep your eye out on for Dynamite and Rampage over the next month. So with that being said, this episode of Dynamite, I just felt like it was really like it was really just a main event and a bunch of quick little filler segments. I don't know about you, but it was just like, that was the main focus this week, was just the main event between MJF and CM Punk. So, but we'll start with the opening match. It was Jon Moxley versus Wheeler Yuta of the Best Friends. And we see Danhausen come out with Wheeler Yuta and the rest of the guys at Best Friends. Is Danhausen part of Best Friends, or is he just hanging out with them?
I don't know. And I think that's one of the flaws within AEW, is that they do a lot of stuff like this where they just plug people in, don't really give you a reason why, or if there is a reason why, you would have to have watched Being the Elite or something like that. But not everyone, the casual fan's not going to watch Being the Elite, so there's no explanation to a lot of these things. So for me, first thing that I thought was, why is Danhausen coming out with Wheeler Yuta and Orange Cassidy? Why? Like, what is going on? Where's the connection here? We never really got any follow-up or anything with how Danhausen debuted, and so I don't know. It's a lot of things that I feel like it's not too big of a deal, but when you look at it, it's like, okay, he's going up against Jon Moxley. Like, what is Danhausen doing? Like, why, come on, make it make sense, but yeah.
So, okay. The match itself was pretty good. I mean, Yuta was bumping his ass off of Jon Moxley. He was throwing him all over the place. Probably the highlight was Danhausen tried to put a curse on Moxley, and Moxley just looked at him like, what the F? And then Yuta jumped off for the top rope onto the outside. So that was a pretty big high flying spot right there. And then, but ultimately Mox won. So, he hit a cutter, and then he went for the paradigm shift. Yuta countered and squashed Moxley with a diving splash off the top rope for a near fall. Then Moxley nearly decapitated Yuta with the King Kong lariat. I love that one. Just hard-hitting clothesline. Then Moxley smashed Yuta with the paradigm shift and pinned him for the win. Rightfully so. Moxley, big win for him. But the big takeaway was, after the match, Bryan Danielson comes to the ring, pulls out a microphone, and starts cutting a promo on him. And we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, whenever Moxley's been on TV, Bryan Danielson's been watching on a back screen TV, or when Mox was walking through the crowd, Danielson stood there and let him walk by. They acknowledge each other. Interesting, what Bryan Danielson said here, and I'm looking. Okay, so here at AEW's website, they have a little transcript of what he said, and I would love to get your thoughts, Brian, because this could be really exciting, or I think it could be even more exciting where the possibilities are. So Bryan said, "Do you guys want to see us fight? For a long time, I wanted to see us fight too, because you were different. I wanted to see what you had, but since you've come back, we've seen a new Jon Moxley. Everyone give it up for Jon Moxley." And then, and deep inside me, there's always been a part of me that wanted to test you. I was watching you as AEW World Champion. You were the best AEW World Champion. And if you had a little support, I think you would still be AEW World Champion. And that's when I realized that Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson shouldn't be fighting. We should be fighting together. Here's the deal. And I know everybody here loves AEW. I get it. But there's no reason why some millennial cowboy should be the AEW World Champion. There's no reason why somebody dressed as a dinosaur should be an AEW World Tag Team Champion. There's no reason why somebody's main contribution to society is creating a vlog that should be the TNT Champion. He also added, "Listen, Mox, together, you and me, we can run this place. Whatever we wanted, if we wanted to take some of these young guys, Wheeler Yuta, he's coming out here with jokes like Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. What if we mentor Wheeler Yuta or Daniel Garcia or Lee Moriarty? What if we took them under our wings and trained the future of professional wrestling together?" And then he said, "Even if you don't like me, they like what I'm talking about right now. So John, I know this is a lot to put on your plate right now. So you don't have to answer right now. I want you to think of the possibilities and all the positive things we could do. I want you to think about the greatness we can create and the legacy that you want to leave." And then Bryan Danielson stuck out his hand. Mox seemed hesitant, and he didn't shake Bryan Danielson's hand. And then Danielson just says, "Why don't you think about it?" Man, a lot to think about or break down here. So, Brian, your thoughts as far as, one, your thoughts on Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley teaming up together. Could this be a new age two-man power trip like Stone Cold and Triple H were back in the day?
It could. It very much so could be. My only thing, the things that came up in my head during this segment were, one, okay, Jon Moxley can't be trusted. I'm sure Bryan knows this.
Okay.
And maybe this is Bryan's way of trying to get to Moxley, because Jericho tried to get Moxley, I don't know if you remember, to join the Inner Circle in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And Moxley led him on to believe that he was joining until the very last moment in the ring. He was like, "No, I was just kidding. I'm not really serious. I would never join the Inner Circle." Right. And I mean, this is a little different. It's not like a group. Obviously, this would be the two of them teaming up together to, take what they want when they want. I love that Bryan, called out the dinosaur, and
I was like, Jim Cornette probably loves this promo. This promo was designed for like the Jim Cornette fans out there of AEW, like but the wrestling purists.
Right. But then also Moxley has to wonder, like, while Bryan is saying this and it may seem like a good idea, you got to think, like, I don't know. This seems very weird. Like, why? Like, why do you want to do this with me? And maybe you got to think, Jon Moxley, he's been in groups before in the past. He's been in a tag team also in AEW.
That's
since
right.
being in AEW.
Yeah, of course. The Shield, all that. Yep.
So, I don't know. I'm interested to see what he says, how he says it. If it's gonna tick Bryan off, because Bryan seems very like bizarre, like sadistic almost, right? Like very strange. Like it's like if you say yes, then you're gonna have to do whatever he says. If you say no, then he's gonna make you pay for it.
Okay, so a couple things. Like part of me is I want Moxley to join with him for two reasons. One, if he just says no right out of the gates, like no, and they just feud with each other. All right, that's a quick turnaround program. But I think to get more bang for your buck for long-term story, let them team together, run roughshod, everything, and then eventually one turns on the other, and then that leads to another program one-on-one. So you get what I'm saying? Like you could stretch this out throughout maybe most of 2022 if they're a team. They go up against different people, take them out, get titles under their belts or with them. And then eventually they fall apart, and then it leads to one-on-one. So from a long-term story, that could be good. And one, it kind of keeps both of them busy, potentially outside the main event scene, because the main event picture right now, Hangman, in the media future, he's got Lance Archer. Not jumping ahead to Rampage, but Adam Cole called this shot, wants a title shot at some point. So the main event scene is getting a little busy right now. So for both these guys, it might be a good way to keep them occupied. For the time being. But now, outside of just them teaming up, the idea of them creating their own faction or stable is very interesting as far as recruiting the young talent, Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and Lee Moriarty. That is really interesting just because Daniel Garcia and I see online Daniel Garcia and Lee Moriarty are actually, I guess, good friends. We have friends from West Coast Pro Wrestling. They were down at PWG last weekend for Battle of Los Angeles, and I saw on Twitter they were all hanging out together. So I think it'd be kind of cool to see Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia in a faction because they already are good friends. Both kind of similar wrestling styles as well, very much in the style of Bryan Danielson, the more technical, hard hitting. And then Wheeler Yuta, for him to break, I don't know much about him, but I know a lot of people do love him. I think he's a little lost in the shuffle by being associated with best friends. So for him to break away and be more of a serious wrestling faction could do wonders for him as well. So that all together is really exciting. So like this 5-man team with everyone, I could see that. And then from a fantasy standpoint, fantasy booking, what happened? This is a swerve. This is Bryan Danielson's way of just playing a trick on Moxley. Like he brings Moxley in, then he gets the 3 young guys, so they have all 5. And this was a long-term story to get Bryan Danielson the world title. And then once he gets the world title, it doesn't need Moxley anymore. Then he has the young guys attack Moxley and take him out, kick him out of the group. And then that leads to them going at it. So that's what I'm thinking long-term where this could go as well. Like there's so many different possibilities here. That's exciting. So
then Moxley comes back with Seth and Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and then, Mox can go back to being like the lone wolf, and he takes out all 4 of those guys to maybe become champion again at some point. Like like I said, I think Moxley needs to join him. One, like you said, it'll be opposite what he did last time this was presented with him with Inner Circle and Jericho. So this is different. He actually joins them, and he maybe realized, if I had some support, I would have been still world champion. So that psychology getting in his head already can work. But then long term, it can backfire and create a good, fun program with Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. So I'm all for that. I cannot wait to see how this goes. I'm digging. I'm all for it. Now, as great as that was, we definitely got to acknowledge the bad. And I saw on Twitter a lot of people saying this might have been the worst segment ever in AEW history. I don't know. Brian, let's get your thoughts. So we see Chief Branding Officer Brandi Rhodes just come out to the ring and, had a mic in her hand and for whatever reason just started cutting a heel promo. They were in Chicago, but she said it was Cleveland. She's like, oh, my bad. And then she just starts going off and then immediately gets interrupted by Dan Lambert, who comes out with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and they have exchange of words going back and forth. Lambert doing his thing, trying to say the most raunchy old man terms, I guess you could say, or going back and forth here, and then ultimately Paige Van Zant comes out, and her and Brandi start having a scuffle in the ring, and the whole women's locker room comes out to break it up. It was just a really awkward, segment with what Brandi's promo was, and then what Lambert was trying to say. I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Brian, your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, it was a mess.
It was a mess. That's it. That's it.
It was a mess. And, I'm someone who, this felt very much like, just wait and see what happens type of thing. I didn't think that they would put Lambert and Brandi back together on TV in a promo segment like this, but they did it, and it did not go well at all. The fans let them hear it. The fans let her hear it for sure. And I feel like Dan Lambert's also run its course. I think he said everything that he could possibly say to make the crowd go ooh and ah at this point. And I think what he's saying is becoming, if anything, more cringe and more like, oh, he probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. It was cool at first. It was like, oh, man, like, oh, yeah, we love this. This is pro wrestling. This is it, But now it's just like, I don't know. I feel like now he's trying very hard to say something to get a reaction. And Brandi just doesn't have it. Like, I'm sorry. She doesn't have it. And she's trying too hard. Mm-hmm. You can see in her face, even during the segments, like she's doesn't look very comfortable. Mm-hmm. She looks like she's trying to be confident. But again, I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you have them kind of just go out there and do their own things. Mm-hmm. It's not always going to be pretty or perfect. Mm-hmm. Some would appreciate that because it makes for a more raw and uncut product. But at the same time, uncut doesn't always mean good.
No, it's, and I'm with you. I think the whole Lambert experiment has run its course. He's like reaching now for the most over the top things to say. And it's like, okay, we get it. You're another example of like the Jim Cornette voices you hear in wrestling. You're just trying to represent that audience, I guess, or say things that those people say online. Yeah. But I'm burnt out with it. And I feel so bad for Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Those guys can be doing so much better without him. Ethan Page should be like a top mid-card heel right now. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when he's on TV, he loses a lot of matches. Yeah. But I think he could have been someone that maybe goes after TNT title. Scorpio Sky, 2 years ago, I thought he was destined to be a world champion for AEW. Yep. Right now, I don't know what his ceiling is anymore. That's what's frustrating. Scorpio Sky is so amazing. His stuff with SCU, he was obviously the star of that group. His athleticism, he's so good. I don't know. Remember that?
No, sorry to cut you off, but I was gonna say, even just in that segment and the time it took for that segment from start to finish, Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page could have had a tag team match against one of the teams that be on Dark and Elevation all the time. Just something, to get eyes on all the other talent that you have coming in, and to give a couple of wins to guys who have been there, what I mean, who have exactly what it takes, both as a tag team and as individual stars.
Well, I still don't know what we're doing with them, because remember Scorpio Sky did that video package for him like a year and a half ago that he was like, he came from a rough background or whatever it was. And it was a really babyface promo video package to sell. Like, this is someone you should be rooting for. Mm-hmm. And they never really followed through with that. And that's what's really just annoying with this. It's like, even for them, okay, if they're a tag team, put them in tag team match and start winning and give them a tag team title shot or something. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd rather see them maybe go up against Jurassic Express right now than the Gun Club. I like,
yes,
it's like, okay, it's one thing to lose, but at least lose in high, what's the word I'm looking for? High stake, high profile matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? And so this whole promo, I guess it's just to set up Brandi Rhodes versus Paige Van Zant at Revolution, I'm guessing. But like, do we want to see either one of them wrestle? I mean, I guess Paige Van Zant, right? She has the MMA background.
Sure, but I mean, here's what I think about it. Just real quick, just a sidebar about Paige Van Zant. Paige Van Zant, I believe a few months ago, I watched her lose a bare knuckle fight.
I heard about that. She does bare knuckle.
Yeah, she does bare knuckle, and she lost one of her most recent bare knuckle fights. I forgot the chick's name, but she lost. And while I don't really care too much about that, the whole
Rachel
unbelievable Rachel Ostovich. Yes.
Okay.
While it's not really that big of a deal because that's separate worlds or whatever, but I mean, you got to build her up. Build her up to be a little bit more of a threat.
I'm looking who Rachel is right now.
Right, yeah, right.
Sorry, I'm a little distracted.
Yeah, no, but I mean, she didn't really have. Paige didn't have a very good UFC track record either. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah. So she was in UFC. I don't know much about her.
Yeah, okay. She was in UFC, and I'm not sure if she's still under contract with them or not, but she didn't win a lot of her fights there either.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I just feel like Paige Van Zant, to me, someone who watches UFC,
okay,
it's not really. I mean, yeah, she's tough and she can fight, but I don't know, man. And she can beat up Brandi, of course. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I now that I think about it, maybe it should be the other way around, because I was getting ready to say, make me believe that I should be believing in someone like Paige Van Zant to come in and actually be a threat to Brandi, but I guess it should be the other way around. I guess I should be saying that maybe build up Brandi as more of a threat to someone like Paige Van Zant. Like, why? Because again, Brandi also hasn't really. I think she had a match on Dark not too long ago, but she hasn't even really been. I mean, she just came back, right? She just had the baby. She just came back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe build her up a little more to make it seem interesting or believable, that make people want to see this match. Because why? Like,
well, I mean, it's like I'm trying to look up a little bit of Paige Van Zant, but so it's like, what's his leaning towards? Okay, a match is Paige Van Zant can become a wrestler for AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like, hypothetically, she should destroy Brandi if she has an MMA background. Brandi barely has a wrestling background. You would think she should, destroy her, but we've seen how other MMA fighters do in AEW with Inner Circle versus Team was it American
Top Team
American Top Team in that street fight. Inner Circle won. So like, what's this going to prove? Is this going to just eat up a space on the Revolution card where it could have been served for something else better? You know what I mean? So I don't know what the whole point of this is.
And I think it might, for me personally, it's almost like, okay, it's just a little too late. Maybe if you'd have did this match around that time when American Top Team and Dos Santos was there, and maybe you could have got away with this matchup on a Dynamite or at the pay-per-view or something, because it would have made sense. It was almost like they were invading, type of thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I just feel like this is going to be a big road bump or a speed bump on the next handful of episodes of Dynamite for the next few weeks. It's just going to slow the show down. And
honestly, with the direction that the AEW women's division is going, seems like it's going up. Mm-hmm. This is going to, they don't need this. The women's division doesn't need, you know, it's sort of the opposite in WWE, right? When you look at WWE, you see, you know, Ronda Rousey and how, you know, okay, WWE, bring her back, big pop, big money, big superstar, right? Like this, you know, and with all due respect, Paige Van Zandt just isn't that. You know what I mean? So it's just
do you think maybe that's their way of trying to have like their version of Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
I think so. Yeah, you know, sort of like a big fight, like, oh, we got this real fighter coming in, and I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't do good for the women's division right now.
And the last thing I'll just say about this is it's tough because Brandi is acting like a heel while Cody is you know, doing his own thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, Cody, your wife is clearly coming out and wants to be a heel. I think she even said on the episode of Rhodes to the Top she prefers being a heel. Cody, cutting promos not too long ago, says he never wants. He's not going to turn heel. He likes being, in his eyes, a baby face. All that stuff. So it's like, okay, husband and wife, they're not on the same page here, or are they? And this is going to lead to something. I don't know. But it's hard to keep track of all this. So, all right, we'll power through some of this other stuff real quick before we'll talk more about the main event. Saw a tag team match, saw Knights of the Black Throne, which is Brody King and Malakai Black, which are they still tag team champions in PWG? Do you know?
I think so. Okay. I think so. And you know what? I don't know if it was Knights of the Black Throne or Kings of the Black Throne, because the graphics said one thing, but Justin Roberts said another.
Okay, so here on the website it says Knights of the Black Throne, but I thought I heard Kings of the Black Throne as well.
Yeah, I heard him say Kings, and that could have been an error.
Yeah. You know, they took on Death Triangle 2/3, Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo.
Happy birthday.
Whose birthday?
It's Penta's birthday.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to post my photos with him.
It's Penta's birthday.
Oh, did you say his happy birthday to him a couple weeks ago when you saw him? No, that was a little too early there. But the match here was pretty good. Yeah. I enjoyed seeing Pac come out with the blindfold and did his best Daredevil impression, countering the moves from Malakai Black and Brody King and dodging them as blindfolded, and then he took it off and he could see perfectly fine. So I don't know, how did you think this match played out here?
It was okay. It was all right. I mean,
it was just good filler.
I feel like for the longest, I've seen Penta with or without Phoenix so many times. I've seen him without Phoenix more than I've seen him with Phoenix. Not only just in his AEW career, but like for the longest, like it's either he's a single star because Phoenix is injured, or he's or they're in a tag team, or vice versa. You know, he's injured. And so it's a little, and the Death Triangle thing never really got off the ground for me because of the injuries. And
Pac was like here and there, traveling.
Yeah, he was back and forth, restricted, couldn't come back over here and things like that. So when I saw this match was happening, I was like, okay, it's not really that big of a deal. It's whatever. But the match itself was good. It's always great to see Pac, you know, wrestle. That's always a great thing. You know, I wish he wrestled more. I wish he was on AEW a lot more than he has been.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Let's see. Penta and Pac hit, I was going to say Aleister Black, Malakai Black with kicks. And then Pac was about to jump off the top rope when he was knocked down. And then Black blinded Penta with the Black Mist. And then Brody and Black finish off Penta with the Dante's Inferno. I like the name for that finisher of theirs, Dante's Inferno. So they pick up the win. Now, with Malakai Black, it's like, okay, it seems like they're going to be a tag team for right now. Malakai Black's run so far in AEW is kind of interesting. Comes in, has this big start, destroys Cody Rhodes, defeating a bunch of people. I thought, he could, I think, progress in the main event scene pretty soon. Not so much. I mean,
nope.
It's like, okay, now he's doing stuff with Brody King, and it looks like, okay, are they going to be just a tag team now, or is this going to lead to a faction? Are they going to recruit more people? Like, I don't know. like Malakai Black was the big free agent signing for them, and now he's kind of lost within 6 months. Kind of lost what made him special. Still got the cool entrance and the music, all that stuff. But are you okay with him just being a tag team person right now?
No, it's sort of like what the gig he was in when he got up to the main roster. Being with Ricochet. I mean, they were tag team champs, weren't they? Ricochet and Alistair when they were.
Oh, in NXT. Well, they won the Dusty Cup.
I know they won a Dusty Cup, but didn't they come up to the main roster at one point together?
Let me take a quick look. Because I know, let's see here. Here, accomplishments. In WWE, NXT champion one time. And Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winner with Ricochet. That's all that's listed under.
Okay. So
WWE.
Maybe that was my WWE 2K20 universe mode.
you had a better run in there on the video game.
But yeah, I mean, he was in a tag team with Ricochet, so I just feel like the tag team thing for Malakai Black is just like I had different. Just the way that they presented him when he debuted.
Expectations.
Yeah, the expectations were different, and just my overall thought, like I thought, oh wow, this is going to be big for him.
Yeah,
like finally he gets the opportunity to be, one of the top stars, for AEW, for a big company like this. So he doesn't necessarily have to be the champion, but at least be in contention. I mean, having matches with the top guys, and here we are, him feuding with Hardy House and Jurassic Express and
yeah, I'm with you, man. I kind of want I'm like, what's next for them? I guess add some more people, the House of Black.
And I think maybe was one of his plans, and I know Brody King probably changed plans for him. I know that they were a tag team, right? In PWG, and that I'm pretty sure that creatively changes a lot of things for him. So that's cool, but hey,
man, it'd be interesting because like him and Andrade are two people I could think of were big free agent signings, but it hasn't really panned out to be like, oh my God. And now there's rumors of other people they're going to sign, and we'll talk about that with Rampage. Let's see. We saw Nyla Rose get a rematch with Ruby Soho. Very cool. Ruby Soho comes out, obviously, to Rancid's Ruby Soho. Bay Area Zone, Lars Fredrickson of Rancid was there ringside. He's really good friends with CM Punk, so I'm guessing that's how he made his way out to Chicago and got the ringside seat. We should ask Lars. Lars always comes out to the West Coast Pro Wrestling shows here in the Bay Area, so... but it was cool. He was there and was rooting on Ruby Soho. She came over to him and, they posed together on TV. So it was very cool to see Lars Fredrickson of Rancid on AEW Dynamite with the Rancid song Ruby Soho playing on, inside the arena. Very cool. But shockingly, Nyla picked up the win over Ruby Soho. So I'm guessing they're starting to maybe build up Nyla maybe again as a potential just heel for the main event scene, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There
was debate online about the finish to that.
With what?
With Ruby trying to go up for, it's like a little kick she does.
The nowhere. The
little jump kick in the corner, and Nia, or not, I said Nia.
That should have been a news topic we should have got into, what she's been saying on Twitter.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Not Nia gonna get herself in trouble, but Nyla.
No, but Nia has been outing, trying to loosely, vaguely out people, but not say it. She's gonna.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's maybe we'll have to save that next week. I'm hoping that's probably going to carry on.
Mm-hmm.
Nia tweeting out she knows people getting forged vaccine cards. Like, dude, I don't think anyone wants you to be running your mouth like that. Anyway,
exactly.
That's a whole nother thing. Nyla Rose, you were saying.
Yes. Nyla Rose held on to the rope. A lot of people were saying that it was botched.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, it was definitely a callback to, the TBS championship qualifying match where Ruby Soho actually hit that move to win the match over Nyla Rose. So
gotcha. Yeah. We saw Gun Club attack Jungle Boy backstage, threw him out in the snow. So it looks like that's going to happen. Man, it must have been freezing. Man, oh my God, why am I blanking on the name? Oh my God, what's the damn dinosaur's name? I can't believe I'm spacing.
Oh my God, I forgot it. Luchasaurus.
Oh my God. It's been a long day, people. Luchasaurus. I was freezing just watching him run outside with no shirt on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it looks like, Gun Club are going to be the next opponents for Jurassic Express. Good. All right, fine. I still wish Private Party or there's so many other tag teams.
You want to
gain a shot or something? I don't know.
You want to know something? I will say this, and I hope people realize this too. Not with every company, when you put time or energy on one thing, and like we talked about earlier, seems like the women's division is going up right now in AEW. Well, the tag team division has taken a fall.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's not much. I mean, I don't see.
Haven't been around much.
Young Bucks haven't been around. I've seen less, and that's an issue too. That's a problem. If the Young Bucks can't leave, and the tag division still shine, then you have an issue. There's a problem.
That's a very good point. That's something I've not heard anyone else say. That's very true. It's like, sure, Young Bucks were the foundation to get that tag team division going, but it should, 3 years later of this company's existence, they should be at a point now where that tag team division, they can step away for a while, and that tag team division could be thriving still. And it's kind of falling off a little bit. Going off what we said earlier, like Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky should be doing some stuff. I mean, I guess they're building up, Malakai Black and Brody King as a tag team. Gun Club, I think, are just a quick little feud for Jurassic Express to give them something to do. Very much like Lance Archer is to Hangman Page. It's just a one-off match. So, yeah, let's get into that real quick. So we saw Hangman Adam Page come out, cut a promo. Then we see Adam Lambert. Not Maroon 5. Dan Lambert.
Adam Lambert.
That would be something. It's just all Lamberts that attack Hangman. Dan Lambert comes out, starts calling out Hangman. Jake the Snake comes out, and then Lance Archer. It was so. Why is Dan Lambert associated with Archer? It's like he has Jake the Snake already. Stay back. Get away off my TV screen. I don't know.
Yep.
Ultimately, just turned into a big old brawl, and Lance Archer put Hangman through the table. So it's just adding some heat to their rivalry for their Texas death match happening next week. So it was fine by me.
And congratulations to Archer. He's taking it serious. He's believable to me. He's still a monster, even though he's got two guys behind him that I don't even know why they're even associated with him still. Or Jake still associated with him.
Yeah.
Lambert, newly associated with him. I don't know why, but I know Lance Archer. I know Hangman is going to take a beating.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He took a beating from Bryan Danielson. So I think that's maybe the story here is he's going to be a fighting champion, but he's going to take a beating in doing so. And so
I'm not sure. Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Finish your thought. Yeah,
no, I was gonna say I don't know if I said this or if Phil or Brandon said it on Bulletcast, but maybe I don't know. I don't even know if you said it, Huey. I don't know. I'm not sure, but this match is like Shawn Michaels and Vader. This is
okay.
This is
I didn't say that.
This is Hangman's.
For me, my comparisons are always Steve Austin. Just saying.
This is Hangman's HBK versus Vader match.
In your house?
Yes. This is in your... Yeah.
Is this when Shawn Michaels starts whining in the ring and goes off on Vader, right? Remember that?
Yep.
He got pissed at Vader and started yelling at him. And I never forget that.
Yes.
So, okay, I can see that. It could be like
Hangman's boyhood dream came true, and now he's time to prove that he's got what it takes.
Well, maybe I'll save this dialogue for next week. Let's see how this match plays out, but let's review Hangman's title run so far. Has it been good? Has it been bad? That's the big thing. It's like, I think with AEW and WWE, they both, I think, have a little bit of issues with their babyface world champions. You look at Big E over on WWE, how that was handled. Hangman, not much has been going on, but that's fine. Like, he's champion. He doesn't need to be wrestling every single week, but are we still invested in him as champion? So we'll save that dialogue for, next week. Real quick, Jericho, he wants to have another Inner Circle get together. Like, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? They're going to break up, right? It's done.
They're probably going to break up, and it's long overdue. I think it should have happened. And again, even Santana and Ortiz, two guys who should be in the tag title division, if not tag team champions already. Like, no Young Bucks. Those guys should be tag team champions. Jurassic Express, I get it. Fan favorite. I love the music. I love the song, but they just don't fit tag team champion right now for me. There's so many other guys who have, I felt should have been there already, and it's in AEW's existence.
So that's a very good point. So yeah, Santana and Ortiz, break off, let them do their own thing as a tag team. They deserve it. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, Malakai Black, Brody King. Like, they got some tag teams that just got to give them some interesting storylines. And I think,
where's Hager?
That's it. He tweeted out, he says, I'm still with AEW, because that's the big thing. A lot of people are concerned now.
Yeah.
Tony Khan says he's not going to release people, but he'll let their contracts run its course. And then once they expire, if they have no interest of re-signing them, they'll just let them go. So they'll honor a contract all the way through, but they'll release them after that, or just not re-sign him. So, and then what that makes you wonder, people who have not been on TV for a long time, is that a sign that they're not being used and they're just going to let their contracts run out? So Brian Cage is the perfect example of what's going on. Hager, a lot of people are starting to question, but Hager tweeted, I'm still with AEW. I felt like saying, for now, maybe. I don't know. I mean, where has he been? Yep. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. People who are not been on TV for a long time, are they eventually going to just be slowly just let go or not re-sign, and that's their form of letting him go? But yeah, Santana and Ortiz, they need to break off. They need to do their own thing. Inner Circle is running. Of course, Sammy Guevara is pretty much like his own man now, doing his own thing, even though Jericho was on Rampage, acknowledged. See, look, he has the Inner Circle vest. He's an OG. And it's like, for the time being, but yeah, I imagine it's probably going to fully implode or explode, whatever the word is, on Dynamite. All right, so main event time. Let's talk about this. CM Punk versus MJF, as we mentioned earlier. It was just kind of like, all right, we're going to get this on Dynamite. It's not going to be saved for, Revolution. Kind of cool. We're getting this big match on TV, free TV. I was kind of shocked by it, but I guess it makes sense. It was in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown, which, by the way, this is their fourth or fifth time in Chicago in the last, 4 months?
They go to Chicago, Jacksonville, Cleveland. It's like the same places over and over and over.
I know.
I can't wait until they come to the West. Like, me, Phil, and Brandon talked about this on the Bulletcast. Like, they've got it. When they come to the West Coast, they got to stay here for at least 5 months. They've got to hit San Francisco. They got to do San Jose. They got to do Oakland, Sacramento, even if you want to. Then come back to San Francisco. Then you can do San Diego and, I don't know, Stockton, whatever. Whatever.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I think when they come to the West Coast, it should be like a residency of hitting all those cities, the whole West Coast. So I'm with you. Yeah, Bay Area. You can do San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose, even Northern California, Sacramento, L.A., go to Portland, go to Seattle. Like, they need to stay on the West Coast, yes, for like 2 months at least, just hitting every city multiple times over. They owe it to us. Yep. So
Portland seems like a very AEW place. It does. It seems like a place they'd love to hit every couple weeks.
They'll all dress like Orange Cassidy up there.
They'll go to Portland, Eugene, all those places in Oregon.
That was my one thing. I was like, when I heard them say Chicago, I was like, why? Like, do they have some data that says we got to hit these cities over and over again? Like,
right?
Like, spread the wealth, man. Come on. So anyway, we'll see. Hopefully they'll come out. It's supposed to be Double or Nothing because they're going to be allegedly in Vegas again. So, it doesn't matter because they'll fly away and then they'll fly back in for the next show. So just stay on the West Coast anyway. So yeah, I was kind of shocked we got this match here, and it started like at 15 past the hour. So it was like almost the last 45 minutes of the show. I was like, this was a long, they gave it a lot of time, which I thought it kind of ran a little too long. But granted, there were like 2 matches here, which we'll touch on as well. I would say overall, I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a great job of storytelling and selling.
Yeah.
I thought, though, at some moments it was a little slow. I'm not saying boring.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say boring because I think AEW and a lot of pro wrestling today, people make that argument like there's too much high flying and no selling and just going from one big spot to the other fast and there's no psychology there. This match had a lot of that, the opposite. So I really did enjoy that. But towards the end, I was kind of waiting for this match to get into the second gear, like kick it up a notch, with the big finish, making someone makes a big comeback. I understand why we didn't necessarily get that because MJF won here, the heel won. That the big comeback is best for the babyface to get the win here. So I understand that. But the storytelling, the selling, the injuries CM Punk was kind of getting from the beatdown throughout this match and hard time to do certain moves. I love all that. How about you? What were kind of your general takeaways?
Yeah, I thought that this was a really good match. The selling was fantastic. Just, especially for Punk. I thought Punk did a really, really good job selling. I thought this was one of his better matches, if not his best match since coming back to wrestling. And MJF, I think, is, well known for his skills on the mic and, how big of a jerk he could be and the heat he can get from being that way on the mic. But he's also really good in the ring too. Very decent. Doesn't get talked about very much. And I don't know if it will even after this match, but he did an okay job. It felt like a very old school wrestling match. Like it didn't feel like what you see a lot of today. Like you said, the high flying, the crazy spots. It felt very, it almost championship material style wrestling match.
And I enjoy how they went to the crowd and were fighting up there. I know a lot of people were complaining. It's like, hey, why is this no count out? And they said it's the ref's discretion, right? So they kind of let that slide.
I feel like it's like that. I feel like it used to be like that. Even in WWE, like it used to be like that all the time. Like Earl Hebner never really rang the bell or did a count out, especially in the beginning of your main event match, right? Like he would go out there with them and give them a little bit, let them get it all out, and then hey, all right, time to get it back in the ring,
bring it back in.
I like that.
So the match is really good, and so we see MJF kind of unravel some tape, and when the ref wasn't looking, he wrapped it around CM Punk's throat and started choking him, and then added his arm around it, so he's blocking or shielding the tape that's under CM Punk's throat. So the ref didn't see it, so he just thought CM Punk was just getting choked out from a regular forearm, and then ultimately, which was interesting here, the ref did the 1, 2, 3, raising the arm, and that arm fell down. And then when it fell down the third time, ring the bell.
Yeah.
Growing up, they used to do that all the time, with sleeper holds, Ted DiBiase with the sleeper hold, all that stuff. But that's something they don't do much anymore. And that's something I asked a friend of mine about. I was like, how come they don't do that anymore? And he said, well, because ever since the popularity of MMA, the second someone is choked out and doesn't look like they can fight, they immediately call it. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay. So from a believability factor, that's why they don't do the 1, 2. The second now in WWE, the second they maybe raise someone's hand and it just falls, it's obvious sign they can't defend themselves. So you call the match to mimic what goes on in MMA. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like that's an example of an older rule in wrestling that's become outdated from a storytelling standpoint. So, but when they did that, I was like, whoa, I haven't seen that in wrestling in a long time. Yeah. But I guess to add something to the drama. MJF won. And I thought, wow, they still got like 20 minutes left in the show. What's going on? But then, when he raised his hand, the ref raised his hand, the tape fell out under his arm and the ref saw it and restarted the match. So the match restarted and it was like, okay, I thought it was good. Okay, we're going to go into second gear here. It didn't fully get into it. It was still really good. I'm trying to remember if anything else major stood out from that. CM Punk hitting a Pepsi plunge. Yes. His old move from like back in the day. That was pretty trippy to see that. The crowd popped so hard for that. Let's see. We saw MJF cheat, hit the low blow. MJF was trying to do what he can. And finally towards the end, we see, Wardlow come out. And I give AEW credit how this was shot. They've got criticisms in the past, how they filmed their stuff. Yep. This was filmed really good for us on TV. MJF's outside, Wardlow comes down, steps over him, gets in CM Punk's face, and the camera's just focused on the two of them. You don't see what's going on around them because it's just out of shot. And then Wardlow backs off, and then we see MJF go back in the ring with CM Punk. Wardlow then steps on the apron, talks to the ref, and then when CM Punk turns around, MJF hits him with the ring, knocks him out. Counts 1, 2, 3, picks up the victory over CM Punk. And we're like, whoa, where did he get the ring from? Did he have it in his trunks the whole time? And then they showed the replay. Wardlow, when he had the initial face-off outside the ring, he handed it behind him and gave it to MJF, which I thought that was such a sleek, sneaky move. And like I said, the way it was shot, we didn't see that at all. And so it was after the fact. The commentators were all surprised at the same time. Whoa, he did that? So I thought that was cool. Like, kudos to AEW for filming that nicely.
And Huey, prime Jim Ross would have delivered that so good.
Oh, yeah. That son of a bitch.
What the hell?
Damn it. I get what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like a lot of wrestling matches that are that neat and like it's missing one thing, and that's the selling from the commentary. I know AEW, and I gotta give them credit, they do a really good job. They try. They really do try. But man, I just I go back to those times where Jim Ross, damn it.
Oh, I guess whenever Austin got beat up and he was like, oh, damn it. God damn it. So, no, I hear what you're saying. So it was interesting. CM Punk, first loss in AEW in his hometown of Chicago. Yep. And the story beat here now. MJF can brag that he beat CM Punk twice in one night. Yep. MJF, it's going to go to his head. His ego is going to be out the door. Yep. So it fuels MJF as a heel. Mm-hmm. Now, where they go from here? Do they set up a rematch at Revolution? Does Wardlow turn on MJF there? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here. So, overall, great main event. I thought it could have been a little shorter. Was a little too long, but I did enjoy the story beats here that they were trying to tell. So, looking forward to next week's episode of Dynamite. Rampage, let's just touch on real quick. A couple things. So we saw on Dynamite, Adam Cole cut a promo, says because of his loss to Orange Cassidy, he's got like whole new fire in him. He's pissed off, even though his record's still perfect because it was a non-sanctioned or lights out match.
Yeah.
He's still pissed off and wants to take it out on everyone. So you saw Adam Cole take on Evil Uno on Rampage this week. Destroyed him in minutes. Mm-hmm. I love this. I love this booking. Adam Cole cut a promo in the ring. He's got like a whole new fire, new motivation. Yeah. And he's pissed off and he says, I want the AEW World Championship, and then drops the mic and leaves. Your thoughts on this new side of Adam Cole, at least in AEW?
Should have been that from day one, honestly.
I mean, the way he talked, it was like, this is Adam Cole from NXT when he was NXT champion.
Yep.
Which part of me is like, okay, if his run so far in AEW, which was a little lackluster, a little goofy, the whole Orange Cassidy rivalry, I can let that slide if the whole point of that was to create this story beat and to kind of give him that motivation to kick ass, and he wants the AEW World Championship. So if it like lit a fire under his ass, then I can be okay with it. It's just took a long time to get there.
Or maybe Danhausen put a spell on Adam Cole and made him go back to his old evil ways.
Or the other thing was they literally saw all the comments on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and saw like, what the hell's up with Adam Cole? This is not the Adam Cole we saw in NXT. And they're like, okay, we got to course correct this. All right, cut this promo saying you're pissed off because you lost Orange Cassidy. It could be a reaction to all that. Who knows? But I'm happy. If this sets him off on a tear on the whole AEW roster, fine. Give it to me. This is Adam Cole, baby, that I wanted. So it's fine by me. I'm totally worth it. So, yeah, when does he go after the title, though? That'll be interesting to see how it goes and how it'll affect his relationship with the Young Bucks and the Elite. And then I still think he'll be champion and Kenny Omega comes back. It could be like a Civil War. Something's going to happen there. We saw, Sammy Guevara defend the TNT Championship against Isiah Kassidy from Private Party. Good match here. For me, I'm just kind of bummed about Isiah Kassidy and Private Party in general. We talked about it earlier. I still want them to be a top tag team for AEW. I don't know, anything else about this match that jumped out at you?
Not really, but one thing real quick. The TNT Championship, I think they should stop calling it an open challenge, because to me, it's not much of an open challenge if you've already announced the match. Right? Like an open challenge to me is when someone comes out and challenges the champion, or the champion comes out and they say, all right, anyone back there, open challenge, let's go. That's an open challenge to me. That's one thing. And then two, I think the two belts is silly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And what do you think about this whole partnership with Andrade and Hardy's group? Like, really? Like, this is the best they can do with Andrade right now. Like, he cannot be, maybe like him and Pac should be having like banger matches.
Well, and I think the injuries with the Lucha Bros come into play as a reason why Pac, his injuries or his absence from AEW falls in there. The uncertainty on who was going to accompany Andrade was another thing I think that held him back. Oh, with like Chavo and because originally the rumor was like Ric Flair was going to do it, and then like, okay, well, let's have Chavo, and it seemed like it was a little bit of a bumpy start trying to figure out his character and how it's going to evolve. But to me, this is exactly who Andrade was in WWE. The only difference is he talks just a little bit more, maybe a lot more than he did in WWE. But to me, it's the same thing. He's got a mouthpiece. He had, Zelina at one point. I mean, at least he was. Did Andrade ever win a championship in WWE?
US title. NXT title. He was US champion.
Yeah. At least he was the US champion. I mean, at least.
I don't know. It's gonna be see how this like nothing.
I think I'm sorry to cut you off here.
No, I love Matt Hardy, but this is just it's a mess. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Andrade should just stop talking and just more fighting. Honestly, like more. I'm not saying he can't talk at all, but I definitely think that actions speak loud. Like, what is this? Like, you know, like he's got this. I get it, but come on, man. You're a wrestler. You're a fighter. You know, like I get it. They're trying to make something, you know, out of nothing at this point. With Matt Hardy, it's just I don't know. Matt Hardy seems to think he's like the guy, the whisperer, so to speak, like the career director. Like I don't know.
I just hope if and when
didn't work
Jeff
for Private Party.
Oh God! If and when Jeff Hardy's non-compete is up and he goes to AEW, if that explodes the whole Hardy family. Wait, what do they call it? The Hardy family
office.
Get rid of that, and just Matt and Jeff be the Hardy Boys. Let them be a tag team, and then breaks everyone away and do their own thing. It's just got to break that whole group thing up. It's not working out.
I think more than half of the Hardy family office is going to be no longer under contract with AEW if it keeps going this way.
That you mean real talk? That's true. I think there's a lot of people that we'll see what happens with their futures. Next up, Thunder Rosa versus Mercedes Martinez. I enjoyed this match. Just two hard-hitting, ladies in the ring just going at it. Shocker, though, into the DQ. Mercedes Martinez brought out a pipe and just knocked out Thunder Rosa, like a rare DQ. AEW's not known for DQs. Now we got two DQs in the last, a week? Yeah, MJF. No, was MJF? Who had the DQ recently? There was another DQ on AEW television recently, and I was kind of shocked by.
I forgot.
I'm totally spacing, but great match here. But the big interesting thing was afterwards they cut a promo or interview with Shivani with Mercedes, and Britt Baker was there along with Jamie Hayter and Rebel. They interrupted the interview with Mercedes Martinez, and Baker said she signed the check ahead of time for Mercedes to take out Thunder Rosa. So she was the one who paid, storyline wise, paid her off to attack Thunder Rosa. But Baker said she didn't pay for a DQ finish from a lead pipe. And next time Baker wanted Mercedes to finish off Rosa for good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people assume it was Jay Cargill and her lawyer paid off Mercedes Martinez. Nope. Twist here. It was Britt Baker, which I'm excited for because now it adds motivation for Thunder Rosa to defeat Mercedes. To then that will lead her back to Britt Baker for a rematch. And I think Thunder Rosa should be the one to dethrone Britt Baker. How about you?
Oh yeah, definitely. They had to find a way to get Thunder Rosa back. Or to have Britt Baker get back in the crosshairs of Thunder Rosa. So I feel like this was a good way to do it. Please just hurry up and put the title on Thunder Rosa already, because Britt Baker, I'm sorry, you're not Charlotte Flair. You're not the best. Okay. You're not the Queen City. Okay. Miss WrestleMania.
Well, and then, I'm glad you said that. It's funny. It's what's interesting also in that segment was Britt Baker told Jamie Hayter, you couldn't get the job done. And that's why she focused on Mercedes, and Jamie Hayter looked kind of pissed, like, what? And then Hayter and Mercedes had the little face off. So I'm guessing, what's going to happen. Hayter's probably going to break off, go babyface, and take out Mercedes Martinez. So maybe after Thunder Rosa beats Mercedes and Jamie Hayter have a program. So I'm kind of like what they got going on here. Okay, Britt Baker, she's paying off Mercedes Martinez to take out Thunder Rosa, so that's going to lead probably back to them going at it. Jay Gargill, cutting promos, calling out people saying that she's green. She's green like money. I love that.
Green like money. Got the green background.
Yeah, and then Ruby Soho, Nyla Rose got a thing going on. Chris Statlander was attacked by Layla Hirsch with the steel chair. So I like that they got different storylines going on in the women's division, because I thought for the longest time the only storylines they had involved around the title, and everyone else was just stagnant. They got multiple things. Serena Deeb had the video package. So I like how it's finally evolving to a point where I think they got multiple storylines here that can take turns on Rampage and Dynamite, respectively. You know what I mean? So
yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm looking forward to. All right, main event time. Ricky Starks defending the FTW Championship, which it's not a real title for the company.
It's not. Oh,
taking on Jay Lethal here. Great match. Great match. Anything stood out for you on this one here?
Just how crazy good Ricky Starks is, and Jay Lethal, everyone knows how good Jay Lethal is and what he can do. It just goes to show that I think, again, that they should also be in solid roles, maybe more often than they are. I know Ricky Starks is tied in with Taz's story and what's going on with them, but Ricky Starks, in my opinion, is the best wrestler in all of the members of Team Taz, and he's not even the most popular. Hook is, you know, so I feel like
and he's got QT Marshall next. I'm like, oh god.
And then Jay Lethal's been missing, shout out to
to our boy. Sorry, I'm just I'm laughing that you got me Alfred, our boy Alfred.
He's been missing, so he's found now, and then but he took an L.
Yeah, it was a cool finish, though. I will say that as far as Jay Lethal attempted his lethal injection, which pretty much is just a handspring off the ropes into a cutter, right? But Starks countered with the Rochambeau, and Ricky Starks pinned Jay Lethal with the pin, get the win here. So he retains the FTW Championship. So it was a great match between the two of them. So so
I wonder if the 24/7 Championship was treated like the FTW title, would fans like it more? Probably, huh?
I guess. At least that one's a sanctioned title in WWE's mind. Last thing I just want to touch on real quick. So, during Rampage, Tony Khan was live tweeting and made a couple announcements here. Let's see. Okay. As referenced on AEW Rampage, I have a surprise. On Dynamite, live on TBS, a top wrestler will walk through the Forbidden Door this Wednesday and debut in AEW. More info to come. Thank you to everyone who joined us for a great Rampage tonight. See you Wednesday on TBS. And then he followed up, the Forbidden Door can be open for anyone from any wrestling promotion in the world, whether or not it's a company AEW is on good terms with, even if it's someone from a company that's open for business. They're also welcome to slam the door in the face of their prior company. And then last thing, or two more tweets here. With the great showing in tonight's AEW Rampage TNT title bout, Isiah Kassidy has earned a qualifying match for a spot in the face of the Revolution ladder match with the TNT title shot at stake. His opponent will debut Wednesday and sign a contract with AEW. Isiah versus ? On Dynamite. And then in response to that, a lot of people were kind of confused. Is the Forbidden Door signing, it's also going to be that same person in the match. So Tony Khan just clarified the big announcement for Wednesday's Dynamite that we reference on Rampage, a free agent debut, and the person walking through the Forbidden Door are one and the same. They're walking in the door, signing a contract, and then slamming the door shut Wednesday on Dynamite. So big question, Brian, who's it going to be? Who's going to be this new signee through the Forbidden Door, which it's like, okay, is it going to be someone that's working somewhere else, or is it just a free agent? Which in that case, that's a little bit of a mislead. I think Tony Khan's tweet. It's like, if it's a free agent, it's not a Forbidden Door. They're just, walking through AEW's door and just joining them, signing them. It's not like they're working somewhere else.
Right.
No, a free agent is they don't have any promotion that they're stuck to right now. So
right. And and if they're working somewhere else, unless it's somewhere like
a working deal. Yeah.
Working deal, then they can't sign a contract with AEW anyways.
Yeah. Everyone, number one pick, I think, is Keith Lee. That's what everyone's thinking. It's Keith Lee. Shout out Keith Lee. Him and his fiancee Mia Yim got married today, so congrats to both of them.
Congratulations.
So Keith Lee's number one. Could it be Jay White? You know, Jay White is over here in America right now. Karrion Kross or Killer Kross, yeah.
Killer Kross, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I get confused too. So Killer Kross, Will Ospreay. You think about, but the last big set of WWE releases in November, their 90-day non-compete just ended this week. So anyone from that list could it be possible? Bray Wyatt. I know he was earlier in the last year. There's a lot of possibilities. So we'll wait and see. It'll be interesting. But yeah, whoever that person is, I'm guessing is probably going to destroy Isiah Kassidy and then earn a spot in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution. So
poor Isiah.
Poor Isiah. It's like, damn it. He's cursed. Danhausen needs to put not a curse, we call it like the opposite. Fix him. He needs to do something to Private Party that will fix their career and separate from Matt Hardy. That's what Danhausen needs to go around just fixing people's careers. Instead of curses, he does the opposite. A spell, like a genie granting wishes and fixing things. That's what it is. So, oh man, it's really surprising. I think I enjoyed more on Rampage this week than Dynamite, which is kind of a rare situation here. So, so there you go. We covered a lot on this episode again.
Yes.
Brian, thank you as always. Where can the Kliqsters find you online?
Kliqsters? What the heck is a Kliqster? Kliqsters can find me at BrianTronic. Follow my show at Within the Ropes. It is, still coming back very, very soon, returning to your ears, all podcast platforms. But follow me at BrianTronic.
Yes, absolutely. I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. Of course, subscribe to In The Kliq wherever you get your podcasts at. Follow us on social media at In The Kliq. If you want to email me, inthekliq@gmail.com. Also, more importantly, subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch the videos. Leave a like. Smash that like button. Leave a comment. All that interaction helps us out so much. So please, thank you in advance for doing so. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.